A child born today in America already has over $100,000 in federal debt in their name. That's over $100,000 that they'll be forced to pay off with interest. That doesn't include all the other things they'll be forced to pay for through taxes. That's just the debt. And if nothing changes from our current trajectory, when that child is old enough to vote, their share of that debt will be at least $300,000, possibly as high as $500,000. And the cost of living will be anywhere from 2 to 3 times higher than it is now, because in order to cover the debt, the Federal Reserve will print out more money to lend to the government, money that kid will have to pay back with interest. And with all of that new money in circulation, chasing the same number of goods and services, you and that kid will need more of that money to buy anything. That's how inflation works. Meanwhile, that kid's wages will have only increased by about 70 to 80% from current levels. And they won't get to keep as much of that money because to pay off that debt, their tax rates will have to be much higher than now. And the government services that they'll probably rely on just to be able to make ends meet will fall even further short of meeting their needs than they would now. You think things are tough now? Double the cost of everything and increase wages by this much. That's where we're headed. If you think that sounds crazy, in the 41 years I've been alive, the cost of living has quadrupled. And if nothing changes, it will continue to get worse. That kid will own nothing. They will be entirely dependent on the same politicians, central bankers, and corporate cronies who created this mess for them. If nothing changes, things will be much worse for a child who is born today. And for the next 18 years, they will have no ability to vote or to effectively advocate in any way for any of that to change. Talk about taxation without representation. They can't stop their future from being worse, but you can. You can break the cycle that was created to silently rob us. You can demand that the government stop spending money it doesn't have. You can stop advocating for the Ponzi schemes, corporate welfare, endless wars, and other policies that create more debt. And you can explain to others who do advocate for those policies exactly what kind of nightmare they're creating for the future, and encourage them to join you to make it better instead. You can refuse to vote for anyone who adds a single penny to that debt. You can invest in assets that act as a hedge against inflation, like precious metals and Bitcoin, and engage in other practices that make it harder for government to extract money from you. You can take a break from arguing with each other about personalities, identities, and lifestyle choices, and realize that none of that matters if we can't afford food and other basic necessities. And if enough of us do these things, government will have to stop the debt spending. And when they stop the debt spending, the Fed will no longer print out new money to finance that debt. And when new money isn't being printed, and more of us are using alternative currencies, the value of your money will remain stable. And when that happens, the cost of living will stabilize, and wages can begin to catch up with it. And that debt starts going down. And that kid will have a brighter future than we have, instead of a darker one. I'm willing to do what it takes. Are you?